Welcome to Silent Service, everybody. My name is Will. You're on for episode 29, and today I have a very special guest for you. He is a gentleman by the name of Thomas Zink, a friend of mine for the last 6 months to a year, give or take. And
Yeah, that's just,
yeah, you'd say, I mean, what? Yeah, 6 months, I think. Closer to
just
six
about.
months.
Yeah, beginning of the year.
Yeah. And basically, I was chatting with Matt, who is not with us today. He is on a business trip in Orlando. Hope you're enjoying that, Matt. But wanted to bring Thomas on because I admire this friend of mine, not just because I think we see eye on a lot of things, but he's a hard worker. I had the privilege of meeting Thomas once I moved back from Montana, and I can sincerely appreciate his loyalty to just one company that you'll hear about following his graduation from Cleveland State. But I don't want to talk so much about you. I would much rather let you introduce yourself, Thomas, if you would be so kind. So that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely, Will. Thanks for having me. It's funny because 24 hours ago, this wasn't even really even a thought or a plan. But when Matt was heading out and you were going to do a solo mission, I was like, I might as well hop in and do something with you. It's been a long time coming. I've always wanted to come on the podcast. I think you guys do a great job. So thanks for having me first and foremost. And Matt, I hope you're enjoying Orlando as well. But yeah, so like Will had mentioned, I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, born and raised. The West Side, a little suburb called Westlake, which most people don't know about. The claim to fame there is that the Paul brothers are from there, but we don't claim that. Um, but yeah, I moved down here after college. I've got a wonderful girlfriend who goes to the University of Florida, and she's originally from Cleveland as well. She came down here to get a breath of fresh air from the cold winters, and I thought, why not come down here and join her? A 2 hour drive because Sarasota to Gainesville, where she's that's about 2 hours, a lot better than 18 hours. Um, in college, it's interesting because you always get so sidetracked on trying to figure out what it is that you want to do, right? Like you're
Yeah.
sitting there and you're like, I'm getting this degree, I'm doing this, but why am I doing it? Like, what am I actually going to do when I get out? And I took a long, hard look for a second thinking about it. And I ended up switching my major. I went from analytics to finance. So I had an extra semester I had to take anyway. So
Oh,
that
I didn't know that.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I was originally in analytics for like 2 years. Yeah, two years. And then I love numbers, which actually is it's funny because I love talking to people too, and usually those two don't coincide. Like usually it's you're either really good with numbers or you're really good at talking to people, but they usually don't collab. Um, but yeah, so I loved working with numbers. I went into analytics, but then it went down like the computer rabbit hole of this is how you program this PC. And I realized that that was not something that I enjoyed at all. So I switched to the business side of numbers, which is finance. Um, so I took a step back and I was like, what do I want to do? And what industry do I want to get into? Right.
Yeah.
Um, and the industry that me and you work in is, and that Matt obviously has worked in, is recession proof. It's tried and true. It's blue collar work. It's the backbone of America. So I thought, why not give it a try? And here I am. And that's how we
100%.
cross paths.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm so glad that Matt mentioned the idea yesterday of you hopping on the podcast because, at Silent Service, we appreciate spontaneity. Obviously, you do too. It seems like,
Mhm.
well, maybe not. Tell me if I'm wrong, but the jump from Ohio to living in Florida was a little bit spontaneous. Or am I off?
No, it was. It was for sure. I think it was. It's funny. I won't go into too much depth on the story because I know we probably have some maps and all that to get into.
We most
But
certainly do.
but I was actually when I was offered the job, it was August 15th or something a few years back. And I remember I got the call and Terry was like, "Hey, I'd love for you to come down and join our organization." And I remember it was like, and I just recently thought about this actually, so it's funny we're talking about this. It was like I had 20 seconds to decide right then and there whether or not I was gonna say yes. Because if I said no, the opportunity is gonna pass me by. Right
Right.
now, I got to keep going through the cycle of figuring out what it is I want. But if I say yes and I don't like it, I guess it is what it is. But at least I can live with that. But if I say no and then I end up working, in something that I don't really find very much value in, then I'm kind of just stuck.
Yeah.
And obviously my girlfriend played a part in it too. I mean, she's a big part of my life. So um yeah, I think everything just pulled me in this direction.
1000%. I wish that we had this conversation 3 or 4 years ago because I think it would have helped me an awful lot. Um,
Yeah.
but I obviously appreciate learning things about you that I didn't know. Uh, but I do need to ask you about your MEPS. And thankfully, you are familiar mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. How are we doing? So let's check in with each other, Thomas.
All
How are we
right.
doing, MEPS wise?
All right. So mentally, I would say prepared because I knew that I was going to be coming on with you today, and obviously I wanted to make sure that it was a worthwhile podcast. So mentally, I'm very prepared. We also got an event going on at work that has had me in that mindset as well. Um,
Locked in.
emotionally, emotionally, I'm excited. Um, I get to go spend a 3-day weekend kayaking. Um, up in North Florida. So
Wait a second.
emotionally,
Oh, I'm so sorry to cut you off, Thomas, but this upcoming weekend is a 3-day weekend?
yeah,
Oh man.
we
I
got
guess
Labor Day.
I guess I was locked in too, but continue. Sorry about that.
Yeah, emotionally, I'm excited. It's gonna be. It's funny because once again, not to get into a tangent, but I had the opportunity to either tube down this said river. It's called Itchnatucky, which is the funniest name ever. Um,
It's Kentucky.
up in North Florida,
So
where
funny.
we
I was
could
thinking about
kayak.
naming my first son Itch Kentucky. Just kidding. Sorry, listener. Such a bad joke. And I'm gonna stop interrupting you, Thomas.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. I'll get you back. I'll get you back. So I had the opportunity to either tube or kayak. And in my head, I was like, yeah, I could tube. It'd probably be pretty fun. But I could kayak and I could also double for fun, spending time with my girlfriend, and I can get a workout in, and we're out in the sun. Emotionally, I'm excited. Um, physically, physically, I am tired today. Physically, I'm tired. Pretty hard workout the past few days. Usually Thursdays, though, the last day before I take a break on Fridays. So Thursdays, usually I'm a little bit more exhausted on my workout schedule, but also prepared to work out later. And spiritually, I'm feeling pretty connected. Pretty connected, I think is the best way to put it. How about you? Turn it over to you for some maps. I don't know how I did for my first time.
No, you did great. I love those maps. Thanks a ton for sharing. Let's see. Mentally, I'm feeling well locked in. You know, just feel that way. Glad we've been talking about that already. Emotionally, I'm feeling content. Yeah, I feel content. Just thrilled that it's Thursday, thrilled to be here chatting with my friend, and physically I'm feeling heavy. I've been trying to put on some weight, and I think it's been working. Hitting the gym, eating a lot of food, so that's good. That's the goal. Spiritually, um spiritually, I'm feeling hurt. I've tried to implement some more prayer into my lifestyle. I have this friend out in Omaha. He's in dental school at Creighton, and he's been keeping
Mhm.
me accountable when it comes to my religious side. So that's real good. So
Home
I
of
feel
Doug McDermott.
yes, and Gordon no, he's what's that school in Indianapolis?
Butler.
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 Yeah.
Yeah. But by the way, for the listener, Thomas and I, we have this thing where we like to just rattle off players from NFL, NBA, MLB, and just state where they went to college. It's the funnest game in the world. You should try it with your friends if you're into that sort of thing. Um, but yeah, those are my maps. And basically, Thomas, within the context of this episode, you and I have become fast friends, and that's because we see eye to eye on a lot of things. As I said, we both appreciate sports. We both appreciate this idea of attempting to navigate this new realm that we've stepped foot into, i.e., the corporate realm. And it's nice to have somebody that is just about the same age, and so we don't have to go through this alone. But
Mhm.
because I, value your company day to day and appreciate knowing you, I wanted to get to know you a little bit more in the context of an
Sure.
interview. So, if it's all right, I mean, I just have some quick banter-esque questions. Um, this takes me back to the very first time that I met you, and maybe you don't remember, but it was December of 24. Do you remember
Hmm.
this? I came in to have a meeting with Terry. I walked past you. Do you remember this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I know where you're going with it.
Yeah, I don't believe I was dressed properly. You had on a nice fit button down. I walked past you, and I just remember you looking up at me like, wow, who's this guy? Like, why are you meeting with Terry? You just had this look on
Yeah,
your face, and I
yeah,
was like, huh. And then I remember thinking, this poor guy, Thomas, I feel like he needs somebody to chat with. You were all alone at your desk, and I wanted to chat with you as opposed to going to meet with Terry. But I obviously loved meeting with Terry because it turned out to be a wonderful thing.
yeah. No, absolutely. It transpired the way that everybody desired, I think.
Yeah, yeah, no, most definitely. Um, I say that because I wanted to keep you company. He looked lonely right there at then
Yeah,
at that point.
yeah. There was a point in time there where it was just me sitting on almost like an island there for a minute.
Yeah,
And I would just kind of sit there and everybody would walk past me, but it would kind of just be like you're on your own center island. It was like when you're on the pitcher's mound in baseball and everybody else is around you and you're just like, where is everybody? You know?
yeah, yeah. Poor guy. Yeah, maybe that's the silent service in me. I wanted to step away from
Yeah.
what I was doing so that you didn't have to be alone. But maybe that's not how you were feeling. Maybe you were perfectly happy being, on your pitcher's mound doing your thing. I don't know. So,
Yeah. Might have been. I can't recall for sure. It might have been a busy day where I was probably like turning around like, who's this kid meeting with Terry? Like, is he about to join our team? Like, am I gonna get a a companion who's like my age?
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Well, look at us now. Now let's see. I like this question that I have here written down. If you could describe me in one sentence, and granted, the rest of the questions will be about you, don't worry. But
Hmm.
if you could describe me in one sentence to someone from Ohio, a friend of yours,
Hmm.
what would you say?
The first thing that came to mind as you were starting to say that question that I immediately just went to, like where my brain immediately kind of just glided towards was engaged. And I
Hmm.
think that there is something to be said about your ability to listen and retain knowledge and information. Um, I'll say that I have some of the best friends back home ever. I love them to death. They're all my brothers. Sometimes, and I'm guilty of it too, we fall very guilty of kind of taking each other for granted, right? You know, we've been around each other for so long that sometimes we say something, it just flies right over the other person's head. And then you come back on it and you're like, did I tell this person this one time, or do I gotta fall back and tell them again? And with you, you retain so much information. Like today, this morning, for example, we were talking about uh, coffee. And the first thing you did was you went back to the discussion about how my girlfriend put me onto Drum Coffee. Shout out to Drum Coffee and wonderful, beautiful Missoula, Montana.
Go
My
Grizz, baby.
girlfriend, yeah, yeah, yeah. So she put me onto that coffee, and you just immediately connected the dots, and you were like, "It's no Drum Coffee." I was like, "How does he remember these things?"
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I guess I love Montana, so I just connected the two dots. And I also have never heard of anybody who ships out their own coffee from Western Montana. And I was like,
I
that is so cool.
credit my girlfriend with that one. If my
Yeah.
girlfriend listens to this, she'll have a smile on her face knowing that she's getting a special shout out and drum coffee.
Shoot. Isabel, I hope he's getting some brownie points today. Let's go. Now, this is a silly question. It says, what is the dumbest inside joke we've ever carried way too far? I definitely have an answer. What do you think this one is?
Oh man, there's just so many to choose from. I mean, like I could list a couple. There's the there's a couple that I could go down. Shout out Jalen Milrow.
Jalen Milrow, former Alabama quarterback. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. For those of you that don't know, just
We gotta let
let
him
them
know,
know.
don't we, Thomas?
I would go with that one. That would
Yeah.
probably be my one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm curious though, what would yours be? Because
Yeah.
you were definitively ready to pounce on that.
Yeah, yeah, and to elaborate on that quickly, it's simply let a naysayer know. We used to always walk past each other and be like, "Wank, let a naysayer know." So
Oh man.
I don't know. It's just so silly and taken out of context. So I'll wrap this question up. But basically, it's just like walking up to you and would say, "You know what they say?" Like you could say that for literally anything. To answer a question you don't understand or know how to respond, you know what they say. Like
Yeah.
it's just so silly and kind of dumb. But that was the question. What's the dumbest inside joke? So all right, let's hop into a little bit of your background. Um,
Yeah.
Ohio and Cleveland State is the title of this segment. So what do you think, Thomas, is the most Ohio thing about you that still shows up in Florida? Like, is there an aspect about you that when people
Hmm.
meet you, they get to know you, they're like, he's from the Midwest, like it's written all over him.
Well, there's a couple of things I could point towards there. The first in Matt's a fellow Ohioan Midwesterner, so he kind of gets it. It's funny. Matt was talking the other day about Northeast Ohio joints and all that kind of good stuff. He mentioned Heinen's, so that's a throwback. But
The grocery store,
um,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. So I would say the biggest thing that I continuously do is when I'm pushing past somebody, I'll always go, "Oh, excuse me, pardon me, almost bumped into you there."
Oh,
And I've never really thought about it like that, but like apparently that's a super Midwesterner thing to do. Like say, "Oh," like I didn't know that.
right.
And then the other, I mean, the obvious one, and you know this, and this was instilled in me by the generations of my family that have come before me, my mom, my dad, um, Cleveland sports through and through. I live and die with them. My mom, my dad, my girlfriend probably smiling hearing me say that because I am, that is my escape from a lot of things is watching my teams. Really isn't an escape. It's actually torturous watching a good portion of them. Um,
Yeah.
but those are probably the biggest one. My girlfriend has a joke all the time when we go out, to the farmer's market or go out on a walk, whether it's here, Gainesville, if we're in a different city. I've always got something on repping Cleveland. Always got a Cavs shirt, cool throwback Brown shirt, Indians Guardian shirt, whatever you want to claim there. Um, so yeah, I would say those two probably resonate the most to me.
Was Cleveland State any good at sports while you were there?
We made the tournament a couple of times. We did. We
Okay.
don't have a football team, unfortunately. That's actually the running joke at the university is like Cleveland State football undefeated, but we don't have a team.
Oh, see, I would
I used
totally
to,
go after a vintage shirt of that if I could find a Vikings undefeated 0-1 or something that really random, that'd be sick.
dude, they used to sell shirts at the bookstore that would say like Cleveland State football undefeated since, and I forget when the school was founded, but undefeated since 1900 or whatever it's at. It was pretty cool.
That's
How
amazing.
about did Rollins have a football team?
Do you know? And I wish so badly that I went to, I'm grateful I went to Rollins, but I wish so badly that I went to a school that had a football team because
No.
halfway through Rollins, I realized I love this sport so much.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's fine. My dad, he taught it. I don't think I ever told you. My dad taught at a couple different schools, but he spent the most time at the University of Wisconsin. So,
Okay.
um, I would say I'm a Wisconsin Badgers fan. In
Okay.
addition to the Grizz, I love the Montana Grizz as well.
Yeah. Shout out Grizz.
Shout out Grizz. Now, speaking of Cleveland State, and jokes aside, I think, it's pretty obvious to the listener that you and I have a hard time not joking around. This is who we are.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you had to boil it down to just a handful of things, how would you say did Cleveland State shape you in the way in the ways that you go about your business today? Was there a professor or, a couple of friends, a study habit, a couple of study habits that really sort of, made you want to attack the real world, so to speak?
hmm So there's a couple of things I'd attribute to who I am today in terms of coming into work and locking in. And the first is white noise. So before we get into anything else, white noise is probably going to be in my top five on Spotify this year.
Is
I
that's
love
what's in your Beats headphones?
sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm listening to podcasts, but a lot of times if I got to lock in, like if I'm like memorizing a presentation or something like that, like at least one ear has to have white noise in because I wake up in the morning and I'm reading white noise in the headphones. That's how I lock
Really?
in. Yep.
And for
Yep.
people that don't know, because I'm not even sure I know, but it's like shh, that's
Yeah.
it, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Like a
The
TV
one
that's
that
not
I
working.
exactly. And
Okay.
you would think that that's kind of not it. Like you'd probably be like, what the heck is he doing? But it is it literally makes me feel like I'm in just like a giant. I don't, have you seen Severance, the TV
Yes.
show?
Yes.
Do you know how everything's white and you're just like basically walking around in like weird, you, I don't even know what you would call it, office, I guess. I feel like I'm in a Severance office when I have white noise in a good way, not in a bad way.
Okay.
So I'd
Yeah.
attribute a lot of my success actually at Cleveland State to that because I learned pretty early on, and it was a professor, Professor Clee. I was actually a part of the finance club there, and he ran it. And yeah, he went to Alabama. Shout out Jalen Milrow. And he had told me pretty early on. He was like, "Listen, the best way to get things done is to isolate yourself from every single thing that you have going on, no matter what." And some people probably don't like me for it because I go like zero dark 30. But study habits, I would rent out a library room. I would lock myself in there, put white noise in, get to work. And it was because of what he told me,
Put
which
a
was
sign on the door that says Viking at work and play. I got you. Yeah,
exactly, exactly.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And that was the biggest thing was just continuously being able to remove myself from everything to focus on the one thing. Um, and I'm not sure. I think it's been mentioned in this podcast before, maybe, but Willpower, the book,
Hmm.
um, by Roy Baumeister, I think was his name. He was one of them. But they mentioned in it that you've got to focus on one thing at a time. You can't, you've only got so much willpower, and if you try to spread yourself, then you can't get everything you want to accomplish done. So it's very important to lock in on that one thing, in my opinion, and that's probably the biggest thing I learned from my time there.
So that you can do deep work whenever you need to.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
And that one professor that shared with you this idea, what was his name again?
Roger Clee was his name, Klee,
Roger
Raj.
Clean. Well, shout out to Roger. Would you say he made a huge impact on you?
He did, and I don't think he would recognize it today because his class was super, super hard. It was an investments class, and it was like calculating the beta weight of stock portfolios, and it was. I remember in the moment I was like, "What is this guy putting me through?"
Yeah.
And I tied the two together. I was like, "He's giving me hard work, but he literally just gave me the blueprint as to how I can do good at it." Right? He told me right then and there. And that's why I think what you do with being so engaged and listening all the time is so key because if I didn't hear him say that, I probably would have struggled to do very good in his class.
Right.
And so he did have a pretty big lasting impact on me. Don't know if he'll ever recognize it. Maybe I'll try and send this to him. I still have his email. Hey, listen to what you did for me, Roger.
I would definitely send it to him. I
Yeah,
mean, what you're saying reminds me a lot of uh, the episode where I interviewed my favorite college professor, and he told me that I eventually shared on LinkedIn with my network. I was like, often being a college professor can be a thankless job. So you might think a professor feels appreciated, but don't just assume. Go ahead and let them know. And
yeah,
so definitely send this to Roger if you feel so inclined. I think he might appreciate hearing a former student's sentiment with regards to how, he made an impact. And, Thomas, it's funny, the reason I wanted to bring up your time at Cleveland State was because just like the other interviewees we've had here on Silent Service, my friend Lily, my friend Zane, my professor Dr. Kroll, all of those people have one thing in common. And granted, Dr. Kroll is a bit older than you, Zane, and Lily, but all of you, the four of you, are the kind of people that I would want to put myself next to at a class. Like I'm talking show up early just to get a seat next to you. And it's so funny because
Likewise, likewise.
that's amazing. Again, we see eye to eye. Awesome.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because last weekend I actually gave a speech at Zane's wedding. Congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Williams. And in my speech, I talked about this. I said that about halfway through college, I realized that it was in my best interest to surround myself with people that are smarter than myself. And in the speech, I went on to say, thanks to Zane, every time I interact with him, I am effectively surrounding myself with somebody that is smarter than me, making
Yeah.
myself better consistently. And his wife loved hearing that. So I'm glad she did.
Shout out to both of them. Congratulations. No, we haven't met, but I hope it means something.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it definitely does. Yeah, no, I've talked to Zane Zero about what you and I get to do, so it's pretty wonderful. Now, for you, Thomas, I do have a question.
Sure.
When somebody asks you what you do from an extremely broad lens, do you say you're a consultant?
At first, no, I usually don't.
Okay.
I
Do you say
usually
business
don't.
development or?
Yeah, a lot of times what I'll kind of phrase it as, because a lot of times when you say consulting, it's such a broad term.
Mhm.
And also, like I mentioned, I love the industry. That's what drew me here was the industry, and obviously the great people that we get to work with day in and day out. So I always like to lead off with I'm in the contracting industry because, like we were talking about the other day, we're basically on the white collar side of a blue collar industry, and I
Heck yeah, we are.
thoroughly enjoy that. Like I think that's super cool.
Yeah, no, it totally is. It's such a niche opportunity, and I I often like everybody. I think because we're human. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and I'm like, gosh, I really don't feel like doing what I'm supposed to do today. And then I immediately flip my mindset, and I remember just as you said how white collar side of a blue collar industry and how unique that is, and how so many people would love to do what we do. I truly
Yeah,
believe that. And then I'm able to be like, oh, let's do it. Let's attack this day. I don't know if
you're
you feel
right.
the same
Lock
way.
in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Each and every day, we get to do something that can not only obviously help people in their lives, but also do something that a lot of people to this day are still waiting and praying for. So I
Yeah.
think it's awesome. And I don't think I take a second for granted. I know you definitely don't take a second for granted. And I'm excited for what else there is to come.
Yeah, most definitely. And I do have a couple of niche questions for you with regards to
Sure.
what you do, if you don't mind, Thomas.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is a bit silly.
Absolutely.
What is the weirdest client request you've ever had, if you can remember one off the top of your head? Something you were just like, excuse me? Like, what? What?
There's there's a few that probably come to mind. And obviously, I'm willing to, if a member has a question, if they've got concerns, problems, obviously that's what we're here to do is help.
Yeah, you got an
Um,
Ohio work ethic, of course. Of course.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We've got all sorts of crazy stuff going on up there. Shout out Cleveland. Um, but I would probably say there was one time, and people probably won't appreciate this as much, but it was just so random. There's uh there's this thing that Terry does every week called Power Hour. He does it with Jimmy Hiller, and they talk about what's going on in Jimmy's business and all that kind of good stuff. Terry would he calls it the most exciting or the most powerful hour in contracting. But there's this beginning clip. There's
Yeah.
this beginning clip where it's like this weird guitar riff like sound And one day, like during power hours, somebody emailed me and was like, "Hey, you know that beginning guitar riff? Like, where can I find that? Like, that's gonna get my guys jacked up in the morning. Like, I really need that guitar riff." And I was like, and this particular member is very engaged. They like to ask a lot of questions, like a lot, which obviously I don't mind, but I was like, what? Like, how did you sit there and watch the whole hour where they did the most powerful hour in contracting? And the only thing you took away from it was that the beginning guitar riff or whatever it is was the coolest thing you've heard all day. And I was like, that's interesting. We got it to him, by the way. We did.
Did you, what's that app called where you just like, it used to be a Snapchat component, but you just held your finger down and then it
Shazam.
Shazam. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
one. You
Yeah.
you should have said like, just Shazam it, brother. And then he was like, what? Look it up. Of course, you went
Come
about it a
on.
bit more professionally than that, but well,
You know.
good stuff there. I mean, yeah, I do have one other niche question I'd love to. I mean,
Sure.
without naming any names, is there a client story? And this is, I suppose, a little bit more sentimental. But client story again, no names, but where you felt this is why I do what I do. Like I know for a fact I helped them, and they would not be in the situation that they're in if it weren't for me. Granted, I know you're not. You're modest. Is your just natural demeanor, but is there a story that comes to mind there?
There's, it's funny, and I don't mind it at all. But the side of things that I work on with a lot of the clients is financial side of things. That's where my strongest background is. So a lot of times people like to say that I'm the person that drops the first domino for them to make their business better. And I'm like, that's fine. As long as I got a chance to impact your business, it doesn't bother me at all because at the end of the day, it is you who puts in the blood, sweat, and tears. It's not me. Um, we've had a couple instances where um, we've had somebody who's been very dead set on wanting to put their kids through college and figure out, the best plan of attack for financing their kids' college education. And at the time, they didn't really know. Um, and I know the profound impact that college has had on my life, and I know the profound impact it's had on, millions of Americans' lives and, international students as well. So to know that, you know, a member was able to utilize myself to get their kids into college and through it. Well, not through it yet. They're still going. Hopefully, they're doing well. That meant a lot to me because I know how big of a moment and memento in your life it can be to graduate from college.
Yeah, yeah. I I know for a fact in however many years it's going to take, I will be a wreck at my son or daughter's graduation. That'll be pretty cool. I can't even visualize that. Is that insane? Is that just because we're young?
It's just such a far thing,
Yeah.
right? Like it's just it's kind of like the whole saying, like it's hard to see the forest through the trees.
No,
So like
okay.
you're in the middle of everything right now, and it's like I'm just trying to figure out what I'm gonna go home and make myself for dinner tonight, Like, am I gonna be able to motivate to go work out? Am I gonna be able to uh, wake up tomorrow morning super early and read and do whatever I gotta do before that? And
Yeah,
that's
somebody
like,
gets to do it, right?
yeah, and that's like, oh my gosh, getting down on one knee, proposing marriage, like buying a home. There's probably so many people listening to this right now that are probably like, okay, cool, you already did that. But for me, that's something that's, 5, 6 years ago, I was still like working at a nursery, like
Yeah.
that's a big deal to think about those things.
No, it's a huge deal because that's one of the major milestones in somebody's life. You know, you have the major awesome milestones, and then you have the most stressful milestones, which are, divorce, marriage, job change, and then, on the more positive side, you have marriage, finding a job you love, I don't know, getting married, I don't know, kindergarten graduation. There are so many of them. I don't know, but all I know is I'm excited for those
Whatever
moments,
it brings, whatever it brings, I'm ready for it.
whatever it brings. You could have a Cleveland Browns Super Bowl. That'd be pretty cool.
Man,
Hopefully
I'll tell
that
you what.
happens sooner than later. Man, oh
I
man.
think you could, like I say, you could pull everybody in my life if that happened. You'd see a grown man cry.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. And as I was preparing for this chat with you, Thomas, I was thinking about moments where I've been tested in the context of our professional work. And if you don't mind sharing, of course you don't have to, but has there been a moment since you stepped into the professional, the corporate realm where your values were tested, your morals were tested, and you were like, I don't really know how to go about this, but I'm just gonna put my best foot forward, and if I fail, I'm gonna learn a heck of a lot. Um,
Mm.
any kind of a
I
moment where
think,
you were just like, oh, geez, I don't know.
yeah, I think it was kind of like when I first started here, I literally didn't know like a single thing about anything in this industry. Let's say, like not, I couldn't even tell you. I remember my first week here, Ben, shout out to Ben, he had to show me how a heating and air conditioning system worked. Like I didn't even know. And so early on, I feel like there's a lot of those moments actually, to be honest, Will, because I would be hopping on calls with people who've been doing this for 45 years, 30 years, 60 years. You know, they're 80 years old and they took the business over from their parents when they were 18.
Yeah.
And I would be like, they're gonna think I'm a phony when I hop on this call. Like, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I can talk to them about this. Like, this is going to be tough, but I also knew it was the only way for me to grow and advance and learn more was to just do it.
Yeah. You
And
must
it's,
have
I
had some
mean,
severe imposter syndrome for a little while.
absolutely. Fake it until you make it was like, I hate that saying. I hate it. I hate it so much because there's no such thing as faking. But I mean, that was basically what I was doing for about a good solid 8 months, you know?
Yeah, but come to think of it, speaking of having a family one day, I feel like that's what every single parent out there does. You fake it
Yeah.
until you make it. Because, for all of us to get a job, the vast majority of us go to school, take tests to get a piece of paper that says, here, I'm qualified to do this job. But you know what? When it comes to having a son or a daughter, there is no school. There is no piece of paper that says you are qualified to bring someone in the world. You can be 16, 17, and just have a baby. Is that not wild to you?
It's crazy. It's crazy. It really is. And it's funny because like you grow up with people and like you go through first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade. You eat soft baked cookies in the cafeteria with these people.
Yep,
You drink
Lunchables. Yep.
high C's.
Oh
And
gosh.
then all of a sudden you decide on a Sunday that you're gonna pop open your phone and scroll through Instagram or something like that just to decompress and all of a sudden you're seeing so and so's having a baby and it's like I was eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches with them at our soccer practice 7 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
And their
It
little
is.
brother was on the sideline crying because he wasn't going to be able to play goalie for the second half or whatever. Yeah.
Right. And you
Crazy.
just like, whoa. And it hits.
And then
It
50
hits
years
hard.
later, you're at your 50th high school reunion in Westlake, Ohio, and the girl you had a crush on in 10th grade has just had a hip replacement, but she's still there and excited to see you. So silly. Yeah, crazy how life works out, man.
Dude, it's nuts. We're
Yeah.
we're just at the beginning of it too, but it's crazy.
No, no. Well, there are a lot of reasons why I wanted to have you here, Thomas, but another reason is just once again, I'm grateful to have somebody in our corners that sort of see eye to eye or are in a similar life position. We tend to work in an industry or at least a business where the vast majority of our colleagues are older than us, I presume. And it's just nice to have somebody that has a rather fresh perspective, come right out of college, hopping into this realm. But I just rambling on there. Sorry, Thomas. Now I
No, no
have
worries.
a little lightning round for you if you're ready. These are
All
these
right,
are
let's do it.
fast, quick questions for you, and just so I can continue to get to know you, brother. So, one,
Let's do
what
it.
Ohio food do you miss the most?
Pierogies. I don't know. Do you know pierogies?
Is that a dumpling, like a dumpling's cousin, maybe?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And I know, once again, shout out Matt. I'm sure Matt knows. Pierogies are so good. It's like a giant noodle with potato. You can put cheese in it. It's very, I want to say it's very just Eastern European,
Okay.
but there is a very large concentration of Eastern Europeans in Cleveland, and it's like a Cleveland Pittsburgh thing. Now they
Okay.
have like you can get like Mrs. T's down here, but like an official real one, like I miss it.
Is it Turkish? What is a pierogi? Is that
No, it's like it's like Polish along those lines. Yeah, like
okay.
it's like Polish, Czechoslovakian, Slovakian. How do you say that? Slovakian.
Czechoslovakian?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I sincerely hope Turkey's in Eastern Europe. I have a couple of friends from France when I studied in Morocco. They'd be tearing me to pieces right now because they always used to say that Americans' geography is so bad. I'd be like, no, I know the capital of Norway. I just looked it up a few seconds before I
Oslo.
said so. No,
And
but
tell me the
okay.
capital of South Dakota.
Yo, Pierre, you want to come? Yeah, exactly. Which apparently, it's not Pierre, but it is Pier. A girl from that I worked with in Montana told me it was Pier. Very common misconception. Fun fact.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
So if you ever go to South Dakota, Thomas, and for those of you listening, make sure you say Pier, and they'll be like, "Oh, you know, you're cool. You may stick around here for a little while." But okay, number two, lightning round. What is the most embarrassing Florida moment so far? What is the most embarrassing moment you've had in Florida so far? If there is
Oh,
any.
it's an embarrassing moment I've had in Florida. Oh man, that's a great question. There's definitely a few. Man.
I'm thinking of some of my own embarrassing moments and I can't really think of any, so it's okay if you can't.
No, like I've definitely had a couple. I mean, oh, we got to come back to that one. Yeah, I
Okay.
definitely have like three or four, but I probably shelved them.
Okay. Lightning round. What's a book or podcast you'd recommend to people our age right now? One podcast or book that you feel is severely underrated that really opened your mind, and it's the one that you often have in your back pocket that's like, read this, listen to this.
Oh, totally. I don't even know how underrated it is, but totally 38 letters.
Oh, yeah.
Totally. That is such a good book. And it's literally it was written in, from 1890 up until 1920 or whenever he was done writing those letters. And it has transcended the test of time.
Yeah.
I mean,
John D.
everything in
Rockefeller.
there is just, yeah. John D. Rockefeller's the 38 letters he wrote to John D. R. Jr., John D. Jr. They are absolutely incredible. It is just packed with gold. Like it doesn't even matter if you like Will, I know me and you were both very much so into the entrepreneurial side, wanting to, obviously go out and gain substantial knowledge and wealth and all that kind of good
Start a
stuff.
business, eat some
Um,
ramen for a while. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Toaster strudels in the morning, that kind of stuff.
Oh, sounds
Um,
amazing.
But even if you don't want to do that, like even if you just want to be able to work a normal 8 to 5 and come into work every day, like it's just life lessons about hard work and about always trusting in yourself and always pursuing what you love. So definitely 38 letters.
Okay, okay. Granted. Or got it. Granted. What are we doing here, Will?
How about
Okay.
you? I want to flip it real quick. I know it's a lightning round, but I'm curious.
Um, okay. In terms of self-help book, what you think of me is none of my business. The author, I would desperately love to buy this woman a coffee, but unfortunately she passed. She's from California, just a a beautiful soul. She helped me so much when I first read that book. I bought it, gave it to my sister. She loved it. Um, Gosh, just read that. Do yourself a favor.
Mhm.
Um, let's see. I don't read a whole lot of fiction anymore, but the best fiction book I've ever read is The Extraordinary Life of Sam Hell. It's a pretty thick book, but oh my goodness, is it worth your time? I dropped a couple of tears on the pages and I couldn't get enough of it, nor could I put it down. The third, I know it only asks for one, but I'm just excited. The third, just Chicken Soup for the Soul. There are some short stories in there that will make you look up and ponder for a solid 10 minutes. Everything you've ever thought or done or seen. So, for the younger audience out there, if you haven't heard of Food for the Soul, please check that out. You will not be disappointed. And podcast, I mean, I think what you and I are listening to lately, Founders with David Sonara, I believe I'm saying is
Yeah,
Senra,
Sonara.
Sonara.
Sinra, maybe. Either or.
Either or, he is just a walking encyclopedia, and I look forward to hearing whoever he's talking about, whether it's an industry I'm fascinated by or not. I will listen. I listen to
It's
him talk about a guy who, um, was obsessed with sushi for 45 minutes last night. It's all good. He's great.
dude, not to, I know we're lightning round again, I'm sorry, but
It's
I was
okay.
talking to you the other day about it, and I was listening to it actually on my drive back the other morning from Gainesville, and it was the Todd Graves story, the guy who the founder of Raising Cane's, and the story that he tells about him and his humble upbringings, and he got the worst grade in his class, his business class, and he gave Raising Cane's as the whole presentation, and the teacher said a story about like a presentation about chicken fingers, like what, like chicken fingers, really? And so he got all upset, and he went down to the store, bought a one of those fake briefcases with like the rolling numbers for you to unlock, and he got like a super cheap suit, and he goes to the bank and he shows them his business plan, and they're like, you got to be in the industry for 10 years or whatever, um, before we can even give you this money. And then long story short, he ends up going out to like Alaska to like fish where they do deadliest catch to make money. He's like a commercial fisherman, and he gets this money and he comes back and starts the first Raising Cane's, which is on the LSU campus. And now it's got like 800 stores nationwide. It's worth like 10 billion bucks, and he refuses to ever sell it, ever. And it's like his baby. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
I need to listen to this. Oh my gosh. You know what I would do if
Yeah.
I were him in terms of silent service? I would go back to that teacher that gave me a bad grade
Yeah.
and be like, granted, I'm not sure what her financial situation is, but I'd be like, you know, you helped me put a chip on my shoulder,
Yeah. Thanks
and
for that.
I would like to pay off your mortgage, or I would like to upgrade your
Yeah.
vehicle,
Yeah.
or put a down payment on another home for you, something like
Yeah.
that. Be
Yeah.
like, because obviously this person wasn't great to Mr. Raisin Can Todd Groves or Tom Groves?
Todd Graves.
Todd Graves. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
It was so
Okay.
cool.
Last question from the lightning round. 5 years from now, Thomas,
Mhm.
what story do you hope that this part of your career in Florida will tell you?
That's a great question. You got to get like a little dinger for whenever you give a great question. Just hit the little ding, because that's a great question.
Ding.
Um,
Cool.
Honestly, this is such a transitional period in my life, but it's starting to turn into a lot more than a transitional period. And I think the number one thing I'm taking away from it is the connections I'm making, the knowledge I'm gaining, the friendships that I'm obviously forming, uh, the ability to live on my own, 1,200 miles away from anything I've ever known, culminating that all into one, as well as developing my own brain with reading and, discipline. I think this is going to probably be the part of my life that formed me into what I'm looking to get into, which is that entrepreneurial mindset of being able to provide for myself, my family, however that may be. through a business of my own. And I think that this is shaping me into being a leader. And I just can't wait for what the future has because we're so young. We got everything out in front of us. I can't wait.
Heck yeah, we do. And you know what's cool is you're gonna remember this podcast because we'll put it on Spotify, we'll put it on Apple, and you'll be able to have it 5 years in the future. You can come
Yeah,
back and give it a listen, be like, oh gosh, I wish I could just give that guy Thomas a hug and be like, you're gonna do great things.
absolutely. I can't wait. I'm gonna be like, that dude Will was letting me know way back.
Hey, gotta let him know. Shout out Jalen Milrow, that is.
Oh,
Well, Thomas, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you being on Silent Service and the listeners. I'll speak for them. We appreciate you. They appreciate you listening. Gosh, teaching us
I was listening too, I swear.
today, for sure, for sure. And always, I do like to include little quote of the days at the bottom. So this
Mm.
one is an honor of you because you're a loyal friend of mine. It says a loyal friend laughs at your jokes when they're not so good and sympathizes with your problems when they're not so bad. I like that. That's from Arnold H. Glasgow. And I picked that quote because oftentimes I feel like I have some terrible jokes, and I think you give me a couple sympathy laughs here and there, so I really appreciate that.
No, 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 no. I've got a few that probably aren't the greatest either, but it's important that you just continue to laugh through them. Like,
Yeah. You know, it's best when you and I are enduring those awkward moments where I feel like most of the time it's me makes a bad joke and we just kind of stand there in that awkward like, damn, that was really bad, but no one's gonna acknowledge it. So yeah.
that's, I know that I've had my fair share. I know you've had your fair share, but it's all right. We balance each other out. It's all good.
Heck yeah, we do. Well, Thomas, we will catch up with you at a later date. And so for the time being, go Browns, enjoy the rest of your day. And anything else you'd like to share with our listeners that you've blessed with your time?
No, I mean, obviously the theme of this has been letting naysayers know. So obviously I go along those lines.
For sure.
But no, I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate Matt with the idea of having me jump into the podcast. I'll take a step aside and let him get back in the saddle. Back. But no, yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, Thomas. We should do this again. I'd love to do this again.
Oh, absolutely. This is great. I could do this for a living. Shout out,
Me
shout
too.
out. I'm trying to think of a podcaster off the top of my head, but I
Theo
can't now.
Vaughn.
Theo Vaughn. Shout out Theo Vaughn.
Shout out Theo Vaughn.
Coming for you.
All right, brother. We'll catch you later.
All right, sounds good.